guys, welcome to the Magpie channel. I'm Eisha. I'm going to be doing the Newcastle Burnley match preview today. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This weekend, the lads are going to be bringing you all the usual post-match stuff, so stay tuned for that. Okay, well, let's get into it. So, a brief recap on how I feel we've done so far in our opening 2 weeks this season. I went into the West Ham game quite positive, 3 new signings through the door that week, and then we beat them 2-0. 3 deserved points and fantastic debuts from our new additions. We then had a midweek cup tie against Blackburn. We won, but we weren't necessarily the better team. Then we took on Brighton. An absolute embarrassment of a game. Don't get me wrong, Brighton are playing some great football right now, but losing 3-0 when it could have easily been 5-0, it's concerning. We didn't even manage a shot on target, and following that, we were up against Morecambe. We won 7-0. Those kinds of results don't come around often for us. So yes, they were League 2 opposition, but Joelinton got on the score sheet twice, and I think that gave him the opportunity to garner some much needed confidence, which I do think has been slightly beneficial in recent displays for him, compared to how he looked in the opening games anyway. So after the Morecambe win, we took on Spurs, which ended somehow 1-1. Obviously, there's a huge controversy surrounding the penalty we were awarded to equalise, but what I'm focusing on is our performance. Now, we were outplayed the whole game. I didn't expect a win. Don't get me wrong, but this display, it has really put the spotlight on Steve Bruce's tactical skills. As expected, we played 5 at the back, yet the squad still struggled with attacking pressure from Spurs. Steve Bruce said that the plan was to stay in the game and see what we could do on the counter-attack, but it was difficult. But it's increasingly obvious that the squad is without cohesive direction on how to play the system properly. Therefore, we're inefficient on the counter, and our attacking football is frustratingly poor. I think we've got incredibly lucky these past couple of weeks. Yes, I've seen some impressive individual performances, but collectively, even this week's cup tie against Newport, it was a similar scenario. It finished 1-1 and we won on penalties. Yeah, it was another disappointing display, and those questions around Steve Bruce's decision-making just intensifies. I know this is meant to be a match preview, and I'll get to that now, but I just think how our Premier League campaign pans out from now on is just wholly dependent on this fundamental issue right now. Will Steve Bruce really acknowledge the need to finally establish an organised system that creates chances and produces goals, or even introduce a style of play, an identity? We're yet to see that, and he's been with us over a year now. It's like watching a new team play every single week. With the attacking options we have now, there's no excuse. So enough of that, let's talk about the Burnley game this weekend. Let's first start with the positives going into this game. So Allan Saint-Maximin should be back from injury, and we all know the flair that he brings on the pitch. He offers pressure, pace, and he has all those tricks. I think against Burnley, Miggy's pace will also be a major advantage. He didn't have the best of games against Newport, but I think this season already, he's assisted 3 goals, and I would much rather start him than Andy Carroll. I said this in my podcast yesterday. I know Burnley's backline, they're tall, and Andy Carroll should be the man for the job, but I'm sorry. He is just well past it for me. His 3 headers against Spurs, they did cause havoc in the box, but I think with a progressive manager, Andy Carroll wouldn't get a look in. I have faith in Miggy to pull through in the long run and be the attacking threat that we need. I think for Burnley, Joelinton should start on the left, not up front. Like I said, since that brace against Morecambe, his form is on the up. He's definitely building confidence, which is all we can ask from him right now. We're stuck with him, and with Callum Wilson, maybe he's the answer this season for a respectable goal tally. Anything from Joelinton will just be a bonus. In the Newport game, he missed a penalty, Joelinton, but he provided an assist for Shelvey's goal, and he is improving in recent games, so let's just hope that continues. Okay, let's talk about Burnley. So their weak areas are protecting the lead and finishing scoring chances. Their squad remains relatively unchanged from last season. They've only played 2 Premier League games so far compared to our 3, but they are off to a poor start. They lost 4-2 to Leicester. Then last weekend, Danny Ings was on fire and it resulted in a 1-0 defeat against Southampton. Both Ben Mee and James Tarkowski are currently out with injury, and Burnley tend to be overly reliant on those two as their key defensive pairing. So if we can exploit that void in their setup, then great. On Wednesday night, they lost 3-0 to Man City in their Carabao Cup fixture. So yeah, a defeat like that against such a formidable team, it isn't shocking, but the morale in the Burnley dressing room, it can't be great. They've not had a positive start to the season so far. Newcastle, along with Burnley, are the Premier League's least dangerous counter-attacking side. So unless we can approach this with some tenacity, I think it has a 1-1 draw written all over it. Okay, let's finish with some negatives. So Steve Bruce issued an injury update today. He said that Jamal Lascelles and Emil Kraft, they're both a bit of a problem and he'll have to see how they are today. They're his concerns. The team have endured a hectic schedule recently. You know, North London on Sunday, Wales midweek, now back at St James's Park. Without Lascelles and Matt Ritchie on the pitch, I do worry about the lack of a leadership figure, but we'll have to see how Steve Bruce adjusts the squad. And I guess we can just hope to get a win before the international break. If we don't win against Burnley at home, it will just show that our luck has really run out and change is imperative. I'm of course hoping for a win, but being realistic, a draw is more likely. What do you guys think? Comment below. If you want to follow any of my Newcastle content, then do subscribe to my new channel. The link is in the description below. Thanks so much for watching this preview, and I'll see you guys soon.